The Sunday school lessons for June the 9th, 2024 come from 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 5 through 18, reflecting God's spirit and bold ministers. This is an audio reading of the lesson and the lesson summary. Verse 5. Now that we are competent in ourselves to claim anything for ourselves, but our competence comes from God. Verse 6. He has made us competent as ministers of a new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. This is just a gentle view to the viewers who have not subscribed to the channel yet. Please do so today. Either subscribe and/or just simply give me a thumbs up if this video is of any value to you. Doing so will keep me in the YouTube algorithm, and the algorithm will continue to push my videos out so that I can reach a larger audience. Thank you so much in advance for all that you do. And to the other subscribers, thank you for coming back week after week. And thank you so much for sharing this video with others. Verses 7 through 8. Now, if the ministry that brought death, which was engraved in letters on stone, came with glory, so that the Israelites could not look steadily at the face of Moses because of its glory, transitory though it was, will not the ministry of the Spirit be even more glorious? Verse 9. If the ministry that brought condemnation was glorious, how much more glorious is the ministry that brings righteousness? Verses 10 through 11. For what was glorious has no glory now in comparison with the surpassing glory. And if what was transitory came with glory, how much greater is the glory of that which lasts? Verses 12 through 13. Therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold. We are not like Moses, who would put a veil over his face to prevent the Israelites from seeing the end of what was passing away. Verses 14 through 15. But their minds were made dull. For to this day the same veil remains when the old covenant is read. It has not been removed, because only in Christ is it taken away. Even to this day, when Moses is read, a veil covers their hearts. Verses 16 through 18. But whenever anyone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. A brief summary. As a letter from Christ, the church in Corinth was even greater than a reference letter. As the law of Moses was the core document of the Old Covenant, their changed lives became the core document of the New Covenant. The law of Moses was bad news, the ministry that brought death. Its message was that humankind cannot meet God's standards. But the gospel of Christ is the ministry of the Spirit. It is the message that people can be reconciled not just with each other, but with God himself. Because of the greatness of this message, Paul was very bold. The Greek word here literally means all words. We might say speaking freely or putting it all out there. Paul did not hold back. He was not timid as his critics charge. Chapter 10, verse 1. An Old Testament account illustrated the point between the Old Covenant and the New Covenant. When receiving the law, Moses' face was radiant because of God's presence. Exodus chapter 34, verses 29 through 35. Moses would put a veil over his face while the radiance faded. Because the new covenant allows believers to remain in God's presence, we have unveiled faces that increase in radiance day by day. The fact that the Corinthian Christians were superior even to Moses in that way confirmed the power of Paul's ministry among them. Thank you so very much for listening. Join me soon for the next audio reading of the lesson and the lesson summary.